Alright, what's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here, jumping in on the live stream. Obviously, pretty big earthquake out there around the Alaska region, coming from a 7.5 magnitude quake. A rather large earthquake up there for that region, of course, in the subducting area up there of the Pacific Plate. That's where one of the world's, well, biggest earthquakes took place there back in, what was it, 1957, 1967, somewhere around there, when that 9.2 struck. But anyway, today we're dealing with a pretty good size earthquake there. 7.5 on the magnitude scale, shaking things up a little bit up there in the Alaska Aleutian Islands area. As of right now, it still looks like there is a tsunami warning for that region up there. You can see here from the tsunami.gov website, tsunami warning issued for the 7.5 earthquake. Check out the latest data on this. Here is the, let's see, south of Alaska. Let's see, 1 second here. We would want watch number 2 for this area right here. The tsunami warning remains in effect for South Alaska and the Alaska Peninsula, Pacific Coast, from Kennedy Entrance, Alaska to Umak Pass. Not for sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but sorry about that if I'm not. You can correct me. Other areas look like they are not in a tsunami warning as of yet, or at all. You can see the tsunami warning outlined right here in the red. If I can get that thing off of there. Oh my gosh. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here. You can see that area right there for the tsunami warning and the coast there of the of Alaska there being involved in that issue. Pretty good. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer here. Earthquake struck right about here at a depth of about what do we got here? 25 miles. So, well, for a subducting area, that's about normal. Sometimes we can see deep ones, and sometimes, obviously, we can see shallow ones with the mega quakes happening. This one here, about 25 miles for the 7.5. And it does extend into portions over here of Alaska, into the regions here. Definitely be on guard if you are up in that area. You can see more specifics here of this region. We can check out the buoy event map here. See if I can find that. Oh, geez, I think I got it set up over here real quick. Hold on. Where did it go? Oh, geez, it's right up on the top of the screen. So anyway, you guys can see some of these buoys out here in the Pacific Ocean showing event mode, right? You see the yellow flashing symbols up here off the Alaskan coast, the Aleutian Trench area. The earthquake taking place right around up here. Tsunami station in event mode, okay? That means that all these stations right here are showing obvious wavelength, wave height differences, including over here towards the Gulf of Alaska. I'm kind of curious to see if this will extend further or not. Looking at the latest station here, go ahead and click on that one. See if we can get this thing to key up. We can see the event details of that specific buoy out there, just south of the region there. Pretty good column height difference there. Abnormal activity. Normally this is on a different period of graph, but anyway, these are in meters right here. Looks like a difference of about ooh, that one's kind of off a little bit, so let's go ahead and see if I can find a different one. Of course, that's about the closest one there to that region. Here's another difference here. You can see these waves. These are just average differences in the tides and the waves out there in the ocean, Pacific Ocean. This abnormal mark right here is this red area that shows you the wave height differences, and it looks like what do we got here? What are we looking at? 486, 86, 488. Maybe a good 3 meter difference there on that little mark right there. if that's the case, that's a pretty good tsunami that was produced out there. And that's kind of why I guess they're definitely leaving the tsunami watch up. I haven't heard of any specific tsunamis hitting the area. Of course, that spreads like wildfire out on social media. Let's check over here in the Gulf of Alaska. You can see that a little bit, not as much as that other closer station there. That one looks like maybe about, barely, maybe a meter. Also down here, you can see that little adjustment there, just a little bit. Of course, the further you get out, the less it's going to be. Closer to the epicenter, the higher and stronger that tsunami is going to be. See that showing up there as well. Wow. Yeah, so it looks like this was on its way down here. Well, it's hard to tell if that was on its way down or not looking at these other graphs. It looks like that may be actually normal. But either way, we got multiple stations out there, folks, in the North Pacific out here, still in event mode, tsunami event mode. And that's kind of what we're watching right now. And as I mentioned, the tsunami statement, tsunami warning, is still in effect. I'll go over that one more time here. You can see the tsunami warning in effect for the southern coast of Alaska. That's going to be this region right there in the red. We'll go ahead and zoom in real quick here to that area once again. No warning or watch or advisory for the coast of the United States there, the 48. But definitely there in this area of red. That's this region right here. And that kind of right there where the earthquake struck. So non-US Canada Pacific threat number 2. So the threat has passed for that specific area, which is the non-US Canada region. Alaska, British Columbia, US West Coast number 3 has been issued. Let's see, the tsunami warning remains in effect. This is number 3, bulletin number 3. Actions, of course, if you are around the ocean area, the beach area, definitely take higher ground, move out of the water off the beach, be alert to and follow instructions from your local emergency officials. Boat operators, where time and conditions permit, move your boat out to sea to a depth of at least 180 feet. That way that wave doesn't come up as it reaches shallower depths right there as it produces that wave. Best to go way out into the ocean. If at sea, avoid entering shallow water, harbors, marinas, bays, and inlets to avoid floating and submerged debris. Let's see here. So this message will be updated within 30 minutes. So as of right now, the latest information from the Tsunami Warning Center, bulletin number 3, there is a tsunami warning which remains in effect, folks, for the Alaska region up here along the coast. Zooming into this area right here, you can see a pretty good influx of, well, obvious aftershocks here following that large 7.5 earthquake. The largest quake so far looks to be that 5.9 there within the area. I'm hoping that this doesn't trigger anything around the area where that... oh man, I don't know what I did with my phone. But this whole area, the subduction area up here along the trench line, is very capable of producing some major earthquakes, even stronger than that 7.5 there. This is some major movement, and I'm sure it's not just a little pebble stone of movement for this area in the Pacific Plate. I'm sure we're going to see some obvious adjustments elsewhere around the region. California really hasn't seen too much there. I'm not going to jump into that. We're not going to do an update, just going to cover the activity here in Alaska. So definitely be on guard, folks, with this continued movement that we're seeing. So far we got, what, 7.5? Let's go ahead and include all magnitudes real quick. I don't know if that's going to make a difference or not. But what do we got here? Of course, a lot of earthquakes up there under 2.5. This specific region right here is the one I'm interested in. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 12 earthquakes or so in this area. 13 earthquakes if you're counting this one that's out here. That's kind of away from the area. Wow, well over 100 miles, maybe 200 miles or so. Well to the northeast along the subducting area as well. So definitely sometimes events like this can trigger other large earthquakes in and around the area of subduction zones here. Let's see, the latest one's going to be a 4.4 there, right smack dab in the middle of that cluster of aftershocks. And looking at the variable depths here, roughly, wow, what are we looking at? 40 kilometers was that other one, the main one, 7.5. Since then we've seen, what, about 27, 34, 15. There's one that's very shallow and away from the area, 2.6 kilometers. So most of them remain about 15 kilometers or so, or deeper in this area. And that's pretty common, considering that deep, considering the larger quake there was roughly about 40 kilometers or so down there below the surface in that subducting area. Just be on guard out there, folks. We will continue to provide updates. I want to see how many folks did feel it out there in the area. I'm sure quite a few folks did. Now this is not a mega quake by any means, but it's definitely a very large earthquake here. 7.5 is a definitely large quake. Mega quake, you're looking at 8.0 or above. Let's see, did you feel it? Let's see, what do we got here? Around the region there, I wonder if they felt it up there in the Anchorage area. Sandpoint, Kodiak, looks like a few folks reported feeling it there, and that's 500 kilometers away from the area. Now this is Anchorage. Here's Anchorage right here. Look at the distance, 927 kilometers away from the epicenter. Whew, feeling that 7.5. Eagle River, quite a few spots up there, definitely feeling that earthquake up there. Up in this region here. For the latest updated information, folks, on the tsunami warning that's been issued up there, I would advise to go to tsunami.gov. It's pretty accurate when it comes to posting their most recent updated information. As you can see, the tsunami warning still remains in effect for the Alaska coast, southern Alaska coast. No threat to the U.S. or Canada or Hawaii or Guam. Right now, the only area that's covered in this tsunami warning is the area outlined in red here. Even though there has been some, let's go ahead and refresh this, even though there has been some movement detected out there in the North Pacific Ocean there following this earthquake, these buoys are in tsunami mode. The closest one I can get to is this station right here, showing that pretty good sized wave height difference. Abnormal reading right there of about, oh, I don't know, what are we looking at, about 3 meters or so. So yeah, definitely a tsunami produced, but how big remains to be seen. Did they mention that in here? Let's see here. No, they don't mention anything. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll mention the wave height, expected, wave height for the tsunami. I don't see it in there. And let's bring this back down to the last 24 hours or so. Get this thing going here. I will be watching this, folks. I had to do an update video earlier on my cell phone because I was away from the house, so I didn't get a chance to rush home real quick and take care of this update. But definitely pretty active up there in Alaska right now. Definitely be on watch out there. Be on guard. Could see some major plate adjustment. The rest of the area around the Pacific Plate is relatively quiet, folks. If you look at it, we talked about this last night. A lot of this earthquake activity is about ready to drop off that globe there, and it probably should have already. I think I have this up a little bit too high. I think that's about 24 hours, right about there. So you can see it's been quiet out there on the Pacific Plate. Actually, worldwide, technically speaking, it's pretty quiet. And now we see this major start to a plate movement out here, and we're just kind of watching it, seeing how this plays out. So we'll be out here on the live stream, folks, so come on by if you're watching this on the update video. Till then, we'll chat to you guys a little bit later. Stay safe.